Kelly, middle school language arts teacher and author of Lucia Chronicles. This is a YA book review of Maggie Stiefvater's The Raven Boys, and hopefully I'm pronouncing her name right. I'm really bad with pronouncing last names, but I asked Google and that was the answer it gave me. So she's also the author of the Shiver trilogy. If you have read that, I actually have the entire trilogy but have never read it. The reason I picked up The Raven Boys, which is book 1 of the Raven cycle, is because it had a lot of love on Bookstagram and I had to see what it was all about. And I'm actually doing this differently than my other YA book reviews because I just finished it yesterday and I'm super excited. So actually I didn't write down my thoughts beforehand. So basically this is about Blue and it's written in third person, and there's a few different perspectives. So you have some third person omniscient, a little bit, and a little bit of third person limited kind of mixed together. But this is about Blue, and Blue lives in with a bunch of psychics. Her mother is a psychic and her house is full of women with psychic gifts, but Blue herself does not have a psychic gift. And however, Blue's talent is making the energy of the psychics around her louder, I guess you could say. So it all starts when on St. Mark's Eve, the spirits of the people who will die that coming year come through, and her aunt are writing down the names of the people. And Blue has never seen a spirit before, and she sees a boy, and she can make out his figure, but she can't really see the details of his face, and he reveals that his name is Gansey. So that's how the story starts out, and it's a little slow at first, and then it really picks up in the action, which I also knew going in because I'd seen that in other reviews. So the story kind of propels itself from there, and eventually we meet Gansey, and Gansey is a Raven boy, which is the boys who attend, I'm going to call it Algionby because that's how I pronounced it in my head while I was reading, which is a prestigious school full of like rich boys basically. And they're known as the Raven Boys because the logo of the school is a raven and it's on all of their sweaters. So we meet Gansey, and Gansey has some friends. He has Adam, who is kind of, you know, a sweet, quiet, kind of tragic home life boy. And then we have Ronan, who is very fiery and kind of the black sheep of the group. And then we have Noah, who's even quieter than Adam, and they kind of talk about how he's just like barely seems to exist. So we meet these 4 boys, and some of the chapters are from Blue's perspective, and then some of the chapters are from the various boys' perspective, pretty much only Gansey and Adam. And then we have another character named Barrington Welk. And the thing that all these characters have in common is they're all part of a bigger picture that they don't see yet. And Gansey's in search of a ley line because he wants to awaken a dead king, because if he does, then he'll be granted a wish. And essentially, Gansey is one of those also tragic characters that has a desire to be known for more than just being rich. He doesn't want to just be rich, and he always tends to stick his foot in his mouth even though his heart is always in the right place, and he doesn't want to follow the path of his father, you know, using money to bribe people to get his way and things like that. Not that his father's not a good person, he just wants to know more. And basically we do find out why Gansey has this drive, and as these characters come together in unexpected ways, their lives kind of coalesce around each other, and it leads to a climactic point, which isn't till almost the very end. The book's about a little over 400 pages, and it kind of ends on a cliffhanger. So inside I'm kind of dying because I ordered the books from Book Depository, and it appears that they're not shipping out of order. And yes, I know I could have ordered them from Amazon Prime, but I just, like, it was such a good deal to get the other 3 books. So there's 4 books in the Raven cycle, and the Raven King just came out, and a lot of people are very sad that the series ended. I don't want to give away too much because there's just so much that goes on in this book, but if you like supernatural stuff and you like myths and legends and you like a tiny bit of romance, it's not like yucky over the top romance, it's kind of age appropriate. Like Blue's kind of, she calls herself sensible and other people point out how sensible she is all the time, and yet, you know, she wants to have her first kiss, and the only problem is it's been prophesized by not only the psychics in her life but other psychics that she's met that she will kiss her true love and that he'll die, but she doesn't really know the details of that. Like, will it be the first kiss? Will it just be he'll die of something else? So it's kind of a cryptic message that's always in the back of her head, especially as she goes about with these boys and starts to develop friendships and other relationships with them. So the strengths of this series is the character development is really, really good. I can see it playing out like a movie in my head. So it takes place in Henriette, Virginia, and I think Maggie does an excellent job of building that world and building the desire of the characters and why they all want this common thing but for different reasons. And it's real eclectic. It kind of makes me think of Charmed a little bit, only because of the psychics, and there's a little bit of like witchcraft in it, but then it's got like the legend part of it, and then it's got, you know, the teenage part of it and just existing as a teenager and what that means. So it's a really cool combination. I would give it 4.5 out of 5 stars, and the only reason I would take away a half star is because it seemed, you know, it was easy for me to put down in the beginning and stop at certain places, but then once the action got going, I just like, one more chapter. I'm just gonna read one more chapter. And then finally I just read the last 125 pages because I wanted to know what happens to these guys and to Blue. So basically, it's a pretty amazing book if you like supernatural things. And the first book is called The Raven Boys. The second book is called The Dream Thieves. And I am anxiously awaiting its arrival so that I can continue the series. In the meanwhile, I am reading Off the Page, which is Jodi Picoult and her daughter's sequel to Between the Lines. So I'll be doing a joint review of those 2 books together whenever I finish Off the Page. But this is The Raven Boys. It's published by Scholastic, and the author is Maggie Stiefvater. I'm trying my best. I'm sorry about that. So if you are into supernatural things and into like legends and mythology, I think you will very much like this book. So in the meanwhile, happy reading.